the courtroom. May proceed, Mr. Senator.
Thank you, Judge. Please the court. Government. Okay. Okay. Detective, do you remember the government showing you what was listed as State's Exhibit 82, which is a copy of the hybrid auto rental center contract?
Yes.
If I may. There we go. Okay. Now, you'll agree with me that in the top left-hand portion where... Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Detective? Is it on the monitors, everybody? Okay. So, you were able to obtain this document from the actual auto rental center, correct?
Yes.
And in the top left-hand portion, the renter is Louis Rivera, is that correct?
Yes.
And he provides his home address, his date of birth, I'm sorry, not his date of birth, but his home address and his phone number on there, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, there's a portion for an additional driver, which suggests that if he was to rent this car, the company wanted to know if another person would be driving it, that's the portion that he would fill out. Would you agree with me?
Yes, there's a place for additional driver, license number, etc.
And it's blank.
It is blank.
Now, we heard references made back to something written in pen that says the word brother and then a phone number that you have asserted belongs to the credit address. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know if, well, let me ask you this. Do you know what conversations were had between Louis Rivera and the person that was working at Hybrid Auto Center prior to this being drafted on the document?
I do not.
Did you attempt to inquire from the person that worked at Hybrid Auto Rental as to what the conversation took place to elicit this information?
I did not.
Did you ask?
I did not.
Here we have on the same exhibit a photograph of Louis Rivera's driver's license. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you see a picture of Secreto Garcia's driver's license on that piece of paper?
I do not.
But it does say friend's number with Louis, correct?
Can you push it up a little bit?
Yes. And that's the number, that's the same number as on the front page, correct?
Yes.
Do you know if this was, if there was any questions with regards to insurance, as to whether or not Mr. Rivera had insurance that elicited this response?
I do not.
Do you know if the person from the rental car rental place asked if there was a second phone number that they could contact Mr. Rivera with, and he gave this number?
I do not.
And this document indicated that they were supposed to return the vehicle on what day?
July 17th.
Were you part of the team that arrested Secreto Garcia?
I I was present. I had no involvement in his actual physical arrest.
When they arrested Sigfredo Garcia, he had 2 phone numbers, correct?
I don't recall 2 phones.
You don't recall 2 phones?
I do not.
Do you know who would have counted his phones?
Most likely Hollandale Beach.
And it's your testimony today that you don't recall a second cell phone being part of
Once or twice. A little bit more in front of you.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry. Luis Rivera was already in federal custody when the arrest warrant was issued for Luis Rivera, is that correct?
Yes.
And were you able to ascertain through your law enforcement connections how many cell phones Luis Rivera had when he was arrested?
I don't recall. I don't remember that coming up.
Do you know what a burner phone is?
Yes.
You describe to the members of the jury what a burner phone is?
A burner phone is a secondary phone that's typically carried by people for nefarious reasons. And it's to keep their primary phone clean of any type of criminal activity.
And in your experience, or in the vast amount of experience, almost 3 decades of experience that you had as a law enforcement officer, would you agree with me that people that are professional criminals, like members of gangs, carry multiple phones?
Yes, most of the time.
And you'll agree with me now, I know you indicated that you don't recall if there was a second phone, but you'll agree with me that the only phone that your office, along with this investigation, pulled information from was the number that we saw on that car rental document for Sigfredo Garcia? Sure, no problem. The only phone that you guys pulled records of and determined activity was for Sigfredo Garcia was the one phone number that was listed on that car rental agreement?
Yes.
And if it comes out that there's a second phone,
That's not a proper question. I can tell from the start, let's think of it.
let me ask it this way.
May I adjust the light on that? It's pointing right at us.
Okay, sure.
Let me ask it this way. If someone is known to have multiple phones in this type of investigation, would you have wanted to track both phones in your investigation?
If we had knowledge of more than one phone, yes.
And just to confirm, the only phones that were tracked in this investigation was one phone for Sigfredo Garcia, correct?
Yes.
And one phone for Luis Rivera, correct?
Yes.
During your investigation, did you find or locate a phone call between the number associated with Sigfredo Garcia and the number associated with Harvey Abelson?
What was the second name? I'm sorry.
So, no problem. Did you find during your investigation any phone calls? Well, let me start it this way. You have the phone records, correct, Detective?
We had them, yes.
And you've done your due diligence and put yourself in a situation where you could educate these members of the jury with regards to the data on those cell phones?
To an extent,
The
yes.
best you can?
Yes.
And you'll agree with me that communication between Sigfredo Garcia and any member of the Adelson family would be relevant in this case?
Yes.
So let me ask this. from the time you started your investigation, which I would assume backtracked 6 to 8 months before the actual homicide?
I don't believe it was that far back. I believe it was, as far as the phone.
Yes, sir.
Data, the 1st of May. 1st of May.
Okay. So we got May, June, and then the homicide occurred in July, correct? Mid-July?
Yes,
Okay. Were you able to find any phone calls between Sigfredo Garcia and Wendy Adelson?
no,
In addition to phone calls, did you look to see if there's any text messages or any kind of WhatsApps or any kind of electronic communication? Did you do that, sir?
we did that. I'm talking collectively, investigation-wise.
And as the lead detective, if there would have been a observation of that kind of communication, would you have been put on notice?
Yes,
So in addition to phone calls, did you find any other communication whatsoever between Sigfredo Garcia and Wendy Adelson? Phone calls, text messages, anything in any way, shape, or form?
no,
What about Sigfredo Garcia and the same, I don't want to keep going over all the details, but Sigfredo Garcia and Donna Adelson in any way, shape, or form?
no,
Sigfredo Garcia and Charlie Adelson in any way, shape, or form?
no,
And we do know that there was a substantial amount of communication between Sigfredo Garcia and Katie Magbanowa because they have a child in common, correct? And a relationship.
yes,
What about communication between Sigfredo Garcia and Harvey Adelson?
it was one communication event.
Do you have the specifics with regards to that call?
It was on July 1st of 2014, so that'd be 17 days.
If you want to, I'm sorry, Detective, if you want to get all the exact information, I'll let you recall that. I'll let you get that information to refresh your recollection.
I have it.
It was on July 1st, 2014, sir?
Yes,
And can you tell the members of the jury what time that phone call was made?
July 1st, 2014, at 5:20 p.m. Eastern Time.
5:20, sir?
5:20 p.m.
PM. And that went to Harvey Adelson's personal cell phone?
Yes,
Are you aware, or do you know if the Adelson Dental Institute, if you call their number after 5 o'clock, if it forwards directly to Harvey Adelson's cell phone?
I'm not aware of that.
If that took place in this case, would that record show that?
To my knowledge of phone records, it just shows the connection to this number, to his cell phone number.
What I'm asking you is, do you know if Sigfredo Garcia called the Adelson Institute, the Dental Institute, after 5 p.m. when their offices are closed, if the call was forwarded to Harvey Adelson's cell phone, would you be able to determine if the original call went to the Dental Institute or to Harvey Adelson's cell phone?
I'm not knowledgeable enough about that.
How long was the phone call?
It was short duration. My understanding is that there was, the phone call went through and it most likely went to voicemail.
Is there any way for you to determine if a voicemail was left?
Not to my knowledge.
Are there any calls back from Harvey Adelson's cell phone to Sigfredo Garcia after July 1st, 2014?
No.
During your investigation, I know that you indicated that you attempted to talk to certain members of the Adelson family, correct?
Yes,
Was Harvey Adelson one of the people that you attempted to talk to?
yes,
Would the contents or the purpose, or would one of your questions have been, did Sigfredo Garcia leave you a message on your voicemail?
my attempt to interview Mr. and Mrs. Adelson was prior to having this knowledge.
And when you gained this knowledge, they had already in essence indicated that they didn't wish to speak to you.
They didn't indicate anything, they just never contacted me, and the next thing I know, they're on their way back to South Florida the next day,
Well, that's kind of what I inferred, that I guess their actions spoke louder than words, right?
apparently.
The government showed you a Facebook business record for Tuto Date, correct? A government's Exhibit 77.
Okay, yes,
Bless you. Does Facebook have the ability to track their mobile users, to your knowledge?
I have no idea.
Did you inquire if Facebook has the ability to track their users?
I did not.
At any point, did you read the contract that you have to make with Facebook when you agree to be a participant as a member of Facebook?
No.
Give me 1 second, Judge. I have no further questions of this witness with the, I reserve the right to recall him as I know the government will be.
Second, Bailey?
Thank you, Your Honor. I want to bring your attention back to July 18, 2014. Shooting happens, you're brought onto the case, correct?
Yes,
You testified that the call went in around 11 o'clock to 911.
yes,
Now, as the lead investigator on this case, correct me if I'm wrong, it would be your goal to keep it quiet. Meaning that it's not going to go out to the media for two different reasons. Am I correct so far that you'd want to keep it quiet?
would the actual homicide, keep the homicide quiet?
Correct.
It's impossible these days, I wouldn't even attempt to think that would happen.
There's a shooting on Trescott Drive. You want to make sure that loved ones don't find out through the media, right?
We'd want to get to them as soon as possible, yes.
It's also important for you, for your investigation, that it remains quiet.
Yes,
You testified how later that day you went to Mosaic, you found Wendy Adelson. You then brought her to the station and interviewed her, right?
yes,
And you were the one that informed her that Dan Markel had been shot
yes,
and that he may not make it.
yes,
Prior to that, that information wasn't shared with any family members or any media outlets.
correct.
And in fact, during that interview, she was communicating with other people. People were calling her, but nobody appeared to know anything about what had happened at the house.
Yes,
I'm correct on that, right?
yes,
And it wasn't until late afternoon, early evening, that word finally got out about what happened on Trescott Drive. Am I correct in that?
I don't know when it got, I was too busy to even know, but eventually it did, yes.
But it definitely wasn't around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, that the information was widely known about the shooting on Trescott Drive.
To my knowledge, no, not that early.
And again, you were the lead investigator.
Yes.
I want to turn your attention now to the big book that we have. Block this so I don't blind myself. Investigator, I'm handing you State 75. How many pages is that again?
575, if I remember correctly.
Does any one of those pages talk about Catherine McBanois being involved in a conspiracy to kill Dan Markel?
In this book,
Correct.
can you repeat the question, please?
Is there anything in there about Catherine McBanois being involved in the death of Dan Markel?
No.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the paperwork in that book spans from roughly September of 2012 all the way up until July of 2014, right?
Yes.
Just want to make sure that a big piece of evidence doesn't talk about my client at all. Just want to make sure that that's clear. That's clear, right?
Yes, because my understanding, this is all prior to the homicide.
Didn't you testify in direct examination how there were pleadings that were filed right before the homicide, but how that hearing never happened because of the homicide?
Correct.
And that's in that book, right?
Yes,
So that would be right before the homicide,
up until,
July of 2000.
correct.
You know what this is?
Yes,
This is a diagram that was put together by the Tallahassee Police Department during the investigation, right?
yes,
And you know that because you were the lead investigator on the investigation?
correct.
And it fairly and accurate reports it's the same or substantially the same condition it was when you last saw it.
It appears.
Can I use this as a demonstrative?
Objection.
No, sir.
Investigator, if you could explain to the jury what this is.
These are individual photos of parties associated in this case. Understand?
You may.
Yeah, stand over there.
The upper, oh,
I can be your pointer, you can tell me.
upper left-hand corner is a photograph of Wendy Adelson. To the right of her, the next picture over is from Mother Donna Adelson. One more over. The next one over is a photograph of Wendy's brother Charlie Adelson. All the way over to the far right is a photograph of Harvey Adelson, her father. Where the larger photo down on the left is Daniel Markel, the victim in this case. The next photo to upper right of him is Sigfredo Garcia, defendant in this case. Next photo over to the right is co-defendant Catherine McBanois. And then the bottom photograph is Luis Rivera.
Try to see if I can make sense of this. You can take a seat. And you made photographs, take a look at those. You know what those are, right?
It looks like the same images that were on the board.
Again, the purpose of the question here is I'm trying to find your working theory of the case during your investigation, okay?
Yes?
Who's that?
Daniel Markel. Wendy Adelson.
Now, do you believe that Wendy Adelson was involved?
Do I believe
I'm
that she?
going to object, Judge, as to his opinion.
Let's go side, Markel.
Dan Markel was married to Wendy Adelson.
Yes.
Is that correct? Now, Wendy's father is who?
Harvey Adelson.
Is this Harvey Adelson?
Yes.
And who's Harvey married to?
Donna Adelson.
Can you see this from there?
That is her.
Do they have any other children?
Yes.
Was one of them Charles Adelson?
Yes.
Is this Charles Adelson?
Yes.
Now, your belief is that the way that Charles Adelson gets all the way around to Dan Markel is through Captain McVanel, right?
Yes.
And the connection that's made is in between Sigfredo Garcia and Charles Adelson through Captain McVanel, right?
Yes.
And Sigfredo Garcia has his longtime friend, Luis Rivera.
Yes.
Judge, I'm going to object to the characterization of longtime friend. There's no facts and evidence at this point to substantiate that relationship.
I'll sustain that objection. Jury disregard the last comment.
For these four people right now.
Objection. Relevance.
I'll sustain the objection as to where they are.
Has Charles Adelson ever been arrested?
Objection.
Overruled.
I'll ask it again. Has Charles Adelson ever been arrested in association with this case?
No.
What about Don Adelson?
No.
Harvey Adelson?
No.
Wendy Adelson?
No.
They remain free.
To my knowledge.
The question. Go ahead, move on.
As an investigator, or when you were an investigator, would you agree with me that it was your job to objectively investigate a case
Absolutely.
and present all of that objective evidence over to the state attorney's office to make their decisions?
Yes.
And you did that in this case.
Yes.
Change gears, talk about police reports. It is normal for an investigator to put together reports while they're investigating a case. Right?
Yes.
In fact, you have a stack of them in front of you.
Yes.
Now, you did that during this case. You drafted reports. Right?
Yes.
Comprehensive reports.
Yes.
In fact, around September of 2014, you did about a 31-page report.
That would be,
September 30th?
I have, of which year? Excuse me?
2014. Let me withdraw the previous question and ask you this one. Did you draft a report in September of 2014?
No.
One brief moment. Move forward to 2016. Did you draft a report July of 2016?
Yes.
31-page report,
Yes,
laying out your theory of the case?
I believe that is in that supplemental report that I completed.
Do you not remember?
I remember the theory, I just don't know which document it was in.
So my question is, do you not remember whether it's in that report? Because my next question would be, if you have it in front of you, take a look. Let us know if taking a look at it would refresh your recollection. I'll ask you the question again.
I don't see it in that particular report, but if you're inquiring about the theory of the murder, I do have a document in front of me that shows that. Yes.
I'm talking about the report that you have from July 12, 2016. Is Catherine McBanoa mentioned in that 31-page report multiple times?
Yes, she is mentioned.
As being the conduit between the Adelson family and Sigfredo and Luis Rivera, right?
I don't see that particular statement in this report, but it has been mentioned before. I just don't know which document it's in.
Fair enough. So in other reports, in PC affidavits, which,
Sure.
correct me if I'm wrong, are probable cause affidavits,
Correct.
that it's explained in there that the Tallahassee Police Department's view was that Catherine McBanoa was and this is a conduit.
Sure.
Now, as an investigator, you know that these reports are then sent over to the state attorney's office, and should anybody be arrested, are given over to the defense as discovery, right?
Yes.
These reports and this information that you have were drafted, again, summer, early fall of 2016, when you began drafting them.
Okay. Yes.
Do you agree, yes?
Yes, that's when they were drafted.
Let's turn now to Luis Rivera. Luis Rivera was arrested middle of 2016, correct?
Yes.
He was looking at the death penalty?
I'm not familiar with that part of it.
You had no idea whether he was looking at the death penalty or not?
No idea.
He was arrested for first-degree murder.
Yes.
You've dealt with murder cases before.
Yes.
You know that first-degree murder carries with it the potential of the death penalty.
Potential, yes.
Would it surprise you to learn? Withdrawn. Withdrawn. Mr. Rivera eventually cooperates, right?
Yes.
On September 30th of 2016, yourself, somebody from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and others sit down with Luis Rivera and get his testimony, right?
Yes.
The following day, I'm forgetting if there's 31 days in September, but on October 1st, which I think is the following day, Ms. McBanoa is arrested.
Yes.
You have no way of knowing whether Luis Rivera was just regurgitating what you had written in your reports as to what you thought the theory of the case was, right?
I have no way of knowing what he had access to at that point.
You had written a report, right?
Yes.
You know that those reports are handed over in discovery, right?
Yes.
No way for you to know whether he's telling the truth or not.
No.
Speaking of his words, on October 4th, a few days later, so again, you meet with him on September 30th. The following day, Ms. McBanoa was arrested. And then on October 4th, you sit down with him again. It's yourself, Special Agent Patrick Sanford of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and others sit down with him and his attorney at the Jefferson County Jail. Is that
Yes.
right? And you guys do a couple-hour-long recorded statement with him, right?
Yes.
but you had met with him on September 30th.
Yes?
That was the first time that you went through this big interview with him, right?
Yes.
But you didn't record it,
No.
but you could have.
Yes?
In fact, you had a camera on you that day.
Believe so, yes?
Correct me if I'm wrong, right after that, you got into a van with Luis Rivera, and he drove you around Tallahassee, and you recorded him taking you around Tallahassee.
Yes.
You could have recorded him.
In the,
On September 30th, when you had the first interview with him, you could have recorded it.
correct,
In fact, you don't even need his permission to do it.
correct,
Because you're law enforcement, you have the right to surreptitiously record somebody.
yes.
We have no way here in this courtroom today to view Luis Rivera's words on September 30th, and point out the inconsistencies with his other statements, do we?
Not to my knowledge.
Because we don't have a recording.
I documented a report, but no, there is no recording of the first interview with him on September 30th.
You didn't take it down like a court reporter here, did you? Word for word?
No,
No. You gave your opinion of what you thought he was saying.
no, I stated the facts as I knew them, not an opinion per se.
And at that point in time when you were talking to him, you already had a theory that you believed applied to this case. Right?
I had a theory, it could have been broken up, but it wasn't after I talked to him.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Nothing changed after I talked to him. Nothing changed as far as the theory, as you mentioned earlier.
You've seen his other statements, right? You were there on October 4th
Right.
when he gave grossly different facts.
Objection. This is
October 1st. Yourself and Special Agent Patrick Sanford go to South Florida, right?
Yes.
You're there to arrest Miss Magbanua,
Yes.
but you're not alone, right?
No.
Yourself and about 10 to 15 other law enforcement went to go arrest her, right?
I don't recall the number. They were already there when we got there. Sanford and I were riding together in the same car.
Would it refresh your recollection to take a look at your deposition to know how many people were present for her arrest?
I don't know how many people were present.
Would it refresh your recollection to
Sure.
take a look at your depo? Read lines 4 through 10. Let me know if that helps your memory.
Okay?
That help your memory?
Yes?
10 to 15?
Yes?
Now, those 10 to 15 law enforcement, they were in multiple cars, right?
Yes.
Guns drawn, right?
I don't remember guns drawn.
Would it refresh your recollection? Take a look at your
Of course.
depo again. 73, 17 through 19.
Mr. DeCosta, can you give us that citation?
Page 73, lines 17 through 19. If you take a look at lines 17 through 19, let me know if that helps your memory.
Okay?
That help your memory?
Yes.
guns were drawn, right?
There was some guns drawn.
10 to 15 law enforcement descending on Miss McBanwell. This woman, right?
She was the target of the arrest, yes.
So scared she urinated herself.
Yes?
The reason why you and Special Agent Patrick Sanford were in South Florida was you were hoping she'd cooperate, right?
Yes.
Objection.
Overruled, not a timely objection.
You were hoping she'd cooperate.
Asked and
I'll
answered.
sustain the objection.
If she were to have cooperated.
I sustain the objection.
Your Honor, if we can go sidebar?
We don't need to go sidebar, move on.
Part of your theory eventually comes to life when Luis Rivera flips, right?
Yes.
Violent gang leader, right?
Yes.
You hesitated there.
I don't recall what level, or I know he was,
Well, Investigator Isom, you believe he's involved in a murder, right?
yes,
That'd be violent, right?
yes.
You also believe that he's in a gang, right?
From the accounts that I read, yes,
Violent gang leader.
yes,
Before Luis Rivera gave his testimony, you agree with me that there was not enough, that the consensus between your department and this office was that there was not enough to arrest Miss McBanwell.
Objection. Calls for an opinion. Improper question.
Sustain.
Before Luis Rivera cooperated, was Miss McBanwell arrested?
no,
How many hours after he cooperated was she arrested? 24, give or
within
take?
24.
Now, you believe that there was other evidence against Miss McBanwell, right?
Yes,
That you say that you objectively investigated.
yes,
But isn't it true that you left this circumstantial evidence arguably inculpatory by not investigating it?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
During the course of your investigation, you go to a medical office in South Florida in the hopes of getting medical records for Miss McBanwell, right?
For Miss McBanwell.
Eventually, I think that was a question for Miss
I want to
McBanwell.
clarify your question to me. I'm saying, you're asking me about medical records pertaining to her?
Let me re-ask the question. You were trying to get medical records for a breast augmentation that she had, right?
Yes,
You eventually get those records.
yes,
You find out that it was paid for in part between a debit card for a small portion and cash, right?
yes.
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
Do you need me to re-ask the question?
He answered it, move on.
No evidence that it ties to anybody else in your theory, right?
The medical records that we've obtained?
No, the fact that she paid cash for a breast augmentation.
Correct.
But to you, it fits your theory, right?
One piece, yes.
Let's go to the next piece that you think is there. During the course of your investigation, you find out that she's driving around in a Lexus, right?
Yes,
And in your reports and in the probable cause affidavit, you just have that it's the Adelson's Lexus, right?
I think there was more language than that, but yes, that's close enough.
Now, it fits your theory if she's driving around in the Adelson's Lexus. It fits your theory that she's somehow involved in this, right?
Yes,
It doesn't fit your theory, though, if what it actually was that she bought an old, beat-up Lexus from a friend for $1,700, right?
if that, I'm not sure what the question is in there. I'm trying to,
We'll come back to that one. What year was the car?
2001,
So in 2014, it was a 13-year-old car,
yes.
right? Now, you told me you objectively investigated this case. How many miles were on the car?
I don't know.
You would agree with me that the amount of miles on a vehicle would dictate the price,
It would have a factor in dictating the price, yes.
because the engine inside of a car is sort of like a heart inside of a person, right?
Yes,
Old engine may not have much time left, right?
yes,
Now, you never did anything investigation-wise of going out, finding the Lexus, determining what kind of condition it was in, right?
I took the make, model, year of the car, generic options, I don't recall what they were.
I'm not asking you,
Don't interrupt.
And-
Finish your answer.
And I used that to determine what the car's value was.
and that's where I'm going to, I'm not asking you for the value of the vehicle found through online sources, all right? What I'm asking you is, did you ever find out the condition of the vehicle? Had it ever been in any accidents?
I don't recall.
Did you ever subpoena any records to find out if it had ever been in an accident?
No,
You would agree with me that a car with multiple accidents could affect the value.
yes,
No pictures were ever taken of the car for us to be able to show this jury what kind of car it is, right?
I don't have any photographs of the car.
You're just here to say it was a Lexus, right?
I'm here to say that there was a 2001 Lexus LS 430, four-door sedan, black in color, that on surveillance video appeared to be in good condition.
13 years old, 160,000 miles, right?
I don't know what the mileage was. I know that the years is inarguable, yes, 13 years old.
During the course of your investigation, you do try to get a title to the vehicle though, right?
I think we were tracking the ownership of it. I'm not quite
You wanted to see if it tied to the Adelsons.
correct.
And you get that title, right?
Yes.
We're about due for a break anyway. Let's take 10 minutes. Let the jury step out after lunch. Sometimes a little hard. 10 minutes. Either side, anything.
Nothing.